Hi everybody, this is Lorie from Craft with Lorie with your first week of projects for National Craft Month, which is March. For this week, I am starting out with a very simple craft that be a cute little gift for any friends or family that don't like to make cards, but this way they have some cute little cards to make on their own. So these are the cards that I made this week, and it's got a little purse that you can keep all the cards with the envelopes in. And see how I even decorated the envelope to go with the different cards. And these cards, like this one, I opened it up this way. And then same with this one. The shorter end is the side that opens up. And you can stamp a message on the inside, or you can leave it blank for you to fill in whatever you want to do. Now this card, I have the longer side is the open side, but it's with the way these cards are, you can do it either way. So I am going to show you how to make these cards and this gift list little purse basket, but I'm going to show you with a different set of paper because this will work with any of your pattern papers. It's great for any of them. And if you have a lot that you kind of want to get through, this is a great project for that. So here I made this card, and I actually did stamp on the inside. So let's get started on making these cards and this purse. Hi everybody, so I'm going to use the Countryside Inn Designer Series paper for the cards and a little purse that I'm going to show you here. This paper is still available. It's from the annual catalog, and it is kind of one of my favorites. It has simple colors. You can go balmy blue, boho blue, misty moonlight, or night of navy. The patterns are just so cute, so easy to work with. So I decided to use that pattern paper for these. Now to get started with the cards, it's going to take really a whole sheet of paper in a way, because the actual card itself is 12 inches. It is 12 inches of card. So you want to make sure that when you do cut your paper, that you're going to want, if it's got a pattern that's got an up and a down, you're going to want to make sure that you do cut it so that that up and down is how you want it. Because you could even do the card to open this way. So you'd want to be sure that the patterned paper would match the way you want to open the card. So I want to open the card the horizontal way. So you're going to cut your paper at 12 by 4, so it's going to be 12, and then I'm going to cut it at 4 inches this way because this is going to be how I want my card to be. So I'll go ahead and cut this piece at 4 inches. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to score it so that it opens up. And now here's again where you're going to want to decide, do you want to have the shorter side be the side that opens or the longer side? So that's going to depend on how you score your card. I like the shorter side, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the score at 3 3/4. Now, something to remember, if you use your trimmer to score it, don't put too heavy of a force when you're scoring, because it'll go right through the DSP. So just a little bit of a score, and see, you can still see that score line. So your first one is at 3 3/4. So I've done that one. And then your next score is going to be at 9. So I go ahead and do that. And then you're just going to fold in on your score marks. And like I said, I kind of like the shorter end being the side that opens, so that's how I scored mine. If you wanted it the other way, then you would have started your score differently. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to need is we're going to need a piece for the inside, which You can, this piece is 4 3/4 by 3.5. You can make it that big, or you can make it a little bit smaller if you want, so more of the paper shows. That is really up to you. So, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my inside at the 4 3/4 by 3.5. So I'll just start there, 4 3/4, and then 3.5. And I think I just did a 3.5 by 3.5. I sure did. Oh boy. Okay, so we'll go at 3.5. Let me make sure I do have, yeah. So 3.5, and then 4 3/4. It's good to see what you're doing. Okay, so there we have those. So that is our inside of our card. Now, the card base itself is just a regular size card, but you're just cutting one piece. It's not going to be folded in half, it's just one piece. So I'm going to take my balmy blue, because I think that's a really good contrasting color, and I'm going to cut this at 5.5 by 4 1/4, just like a regular card size. So we'll go ahead and cut it at 5.5, and then we'll cut this one at 4 1/4. Okay, so there we go. And see, then I have another whole base that I can make another of these cards with. So see there, it just centers on that paper, and then you're going to open it up and your card is going to be in there. So I'm going to go ahead and take this to the side for right now. So for my card front, I am going to use, I cut out a couple of different pieces. This is where you can kind of decorate the front of your card however you want. As you can see, this one I actually used these stylish shapes dies, and I used the circle to cut out for my sentiment, and then I used the banners to cut out just a little, for a little, prettiness on there. So for this one, I decided to use the other dies, which I don't have right here. I thought I did. Nope, here they are. I'm going to use the nested essential dies, and I've cut out 2 of the different size dies there. So, and then I'm going to stamp my sentiment on there. So like if you have any size, any nice little nested dies, these will really work great for these card fronts, because you can just kind of mix and match them as you want to. So I will go ahead and get my sentiment stamped in that, and I'm going to use I'm going to go ahead and use the Night of Navy. I think that's a really good color for here. So we'll get this Night of Navy, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on that. Okay, so make sure, and I'm using Thinking of You. And this is another one of, you can kind of use any of your sentiment stamps. I'm using the Wonderful Thoughts, and I'm going to use Thinking of You. And all these products that I'm using are currently available. They're all either in the catalog or online exclusives, but they are available right now. Nothing that's new, nothing that's just recently come out. So there is that. Go ahead and get my stamp back on there. And again, you can stamp a sentiment on the inside if you want to, like Thinking of You. This is a good one. You've come so far and accomplished so much. There's just a lot of good ones that you could stamp on the inside piece for that. So maybe I will do that one. So let's see if I can find where you've come so far and accomplished so much. There's that one. Get my stamp for that. And like I said, you do not have to stamp anything on here. If you don't want to, you can leave this open so that you can just write your message on the inside. These are really good for that. If you just want to send just a note to your friend or family, got really good space to write your note. And just keep these super simple if you want to. I mean, that's the biggest thing with these, is just keeping them really super simple. So you can make a bunch of these when you need to. So I'll go ahead and get that closed up. Now to put the card together, first off, I'm going to go ahead and I will glue this down to the base. So I'm going to use my glue because my glue gives me a little more leeway when I'm positioning it onto my card. So I'll take that, and then you're going to want to be sure that you're putting your card on there. Well, it really doesn't matter. So just put the card on, put your card on there just in the middle of your base. Kind of push it down a little bit. Sometimes if I'm doing something else, I'll just let one of my blocks just set on it for a minute. Let that glue take place. And then for the inside, we're just going to glue our inside thought on down in there. Like I said, these are super simple cards, but they're really easy and, you know, super simple, but that doesn't mean that they're not heartfelt, because they are still heartfelt. I think any card that you send to somebody lets them know you're thinking about them. So there is that. Did get a little bit of glue on my finger there. So now to decorate the front, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this down directly onto mat it onto that. Like on this one, I put the banner onto the card directly, and then I popped up the sentiment piece there. You can kind of see it better. See how the banner is directly on the card, but the sentiment piece is popped up with dimensionals. This one I'm going to go ahead and put this directly on there, and then I'll pop the whole thing up. So get some glue onto that. And then center that onto the middle of that. There we go. Now something else I want to do with this. I'm going to go ahead and wrap some ribbon around it. I think that'll be really pretty to have a little bit of ribbon around this side of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and take this piece of ribbon, and then I will just tie it in a little bit of a bow. So make sure it's all flattened out there, and then just tie it. And I knew I was going to hit that. I could feel my head headed right for the camera. So then just tie it in a little pretty bow. Got that one just a little bit too long. So I'll try it again. I'm not great with bows when I'm trying to tie them directly onto the project. I do better if I do it separately. So there we go. Kind of flatten that little bow out there, and then you can take you can glue it down a little bit, and that I might just put a little bit of glue just so that I know that it holds it there. Kind of move it up a little bit. And I'm going to put it right about there. So, and then I'll bring my little piece of ribbon down. I don't really want the glue to get on that so much until I'm in place. There. So that will hold it down and in place. And then we will put this on here. Like I said, I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. So I just want the dimensionals on the side. I don't want them on the whole back of it. So something that you can do is, like if you know about where you want to put it, kind of turn it over. And so there, I know that I just want my dimensionals on this side. So I'll just put dimensionals in the corners. And then one in the very center of those 4 spots. So see, now I'm gonna, when I put that down, the dimensionals are just gonna be on the side that I want that on. So we'll take our backings off. One, two, three, 4, 5. Okay. And so there, just kind of right in the center. And there we go. So there you have your card, and you can kind of burnish those edges down a little bit. And so there you have 2 cards. And they really do go pretty quick once you have all of your supplies out and what you want to do. So you could even, you could even take dimensionals and hold those into place if you wanted to as well, so that it's not moving around as much. Like you could take your dimensional, put it on the back of the ribbon, take one more down here, make sure I get it centered on that ribbon, and these are the mini dimensionals. But then you can just take that backing off. And there you go. And take the backing off of this one. And there you go. So now your ribbon isn't kind of moving around as much, but there you go. So there are those 2 cards. And let me get my space cleaned off, and we will make the purse. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to make the cute little purse that goes with this little set. And this is going to take a full sheet of paper. You're going to cut it down to 12 by 11. You kind of want a sheet of paper that it really isn't going to matter which way is up or sideways, I think, but that's just me. So cut the paper down to 12 by 11, so you just want to cut an inch off of one side, and we're actually going to use that inch as well. So do that and put that aside, and then we're going to actually cut this little inch piece in half, so it'll be a 1/2 inch size. So you just kind of want to set that in there and then pop that down really quick. That's the easiest way that I found it. If you have a different trimmer, that yours holds better, but that's how mine does it. So I've got those 2 little pieces at a 1/2 inch. Now we're going to take this piece, and with the 11-inch side at the top, we are going to score it at 2.5 inches. I'm going to go ahead and bring my arm in, since I don't need that long side. So we're going to score this with the 11-inch side at the top at 2.5 inches on both sides. So let me get that at 2.5. And again, since you're using the DSP, it's a little not as heavy, so you don't want to do a real deep score. You want to do it enough that you feel it, but not too deep. So, and then you turn it over and do it on the other side at 2.5 inches as well. Okay. And then you're going to take the 12-inch side at the top, and you're going to score it at 4 3/4 on both sides. Okay. So there we go. And then turn it over, and then a 4 3/4 on this side as well. Okay. So now we're done with that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to find your score marks, and I had that really close. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to cut up your score marks on, it's going to be on the 12-inch side. You're going to cut up at the 4-inch, and you're going to cut it up to the 4 3/4 inch, and you're going to cut it up to the 2.5-inch on all of those spots, because that's where you're going to fold your pieces around. So let me get those cut really quick. I might have to do it. Yeah, need to do it on my darker side so I can see my score lines better. So you're just going to find your score lines and cut those up to that 2.5-inch mark. So you're going to be cutting 4 times. 2, 3, and there it is. That one is still a little hard to see even on this dark side. And 4. And so what we are going to do there is we're going to fold in all of the score lines up. And this is how we're going to make our purse. Okay. So, see, we've got our purse. Oh, we also want to fold these sides in. And you can decide which side you want to be on the outside and which side you want to be on the inside. For my purse, I decided I wanted the dark to be on the inside of the purse and then the light to be on the outside of the purse. So then you're just going to take your sides and you're going to glue them down. So you kind of want to decide which side is going to be in and which side is going to be on the outside. And you're just going to go and put that glue around the edge of the side that you're going to glue in. Okay, and you want that to be on the inside. So then you'll just take it, match up your lines here so that you've got a nice fold there, and then just press it down. And then I just kind of hold it for a little bit so that that glue takes hold. Okay, and now we'll do it with the other side. So since it's now got a shape, it's kind of a little bit harder to just lay it flat. So you'll have your edge up on your hand or anything to kind of hold it. And then again, you're just going to take it, fold it over, and then line up all the edges. And then again, you can just press on it and hold it so that that glue can take hold a little bit. And if you want to, you can just set it on this. If you want to, you could set it aside and maybe put a block in there to hold it. It's whatever you want to do with that. And then you're going to take a piece of cardstock for the handles, because you're going to use this. You're going to use, like I said, you're going to use those strips, but you're going to kind of reinforce it with another color. I'm going to go ahead and use kind of like the boho blue better maybe. So we're going to cut a couple of pieces of this boho blue. We're going to cut them at 11 inches by 3/4 of an inch. So you're going to go ahead and use your trimmer, and you're just going to cut 3/4 of an inch. So let me make sure where I'm cutting at. So there's one strip, and then there's the second strip. Okay, so there is going to be part of our, and you're going to take your strips here that you just cut, and I don't know why I was going to put that out. You're just going to need to cut an inch off of them because they are 12 inches, and you only need them to be 11 inches. So there's one. And then there is 2. Okay, so now I am done with that. And you're just going to glue these down onto the strips. So we will go ahead and get that done. And since I'm gonna have that pattern on the outside, that's the pattern that I want on the outside on these strips as well. So just kind of put a little bit of glue down, and then you're just gonna center these strips, these pattern strips, onto your solid cardstock strips. Okay, set that one off to the side, and then we'll do the other one. Get my glue to go since I didn't have it upside down. It really does fall to the bottom really fast. Get it back in my glue holder there. Okay, and then get this one centered. And I do like using glue because that way I can maneuver it better. It doesn't just stick right down right away. Okay, so there are those. Now to attach the handles to the bag. And this is a little fun. So I did go ahead and glue them in there. I glued them in about an inch down, you can see. And so what I did was I kind of marked myself on my paper. This little thing turns out it's about 6 inches across. So I went in about an inch on both sides, and I made a little bit of a mark for myself, and it's just more for my reference than anything. But this way I can kind of put the handles on there evenly. Okay, and then for the handles, I'm going to go up. Like I said, I went up about an inch, so just a little bit under an inch. I'm going to put a little bit of a mark, because then this won't show after I glue it. So put a little bit of a mark on each side. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue down, put some glue down on my end, and then I'm going to attach it to where I put my little mark on there. Let's see, I've got the mark there and then the mark there, and then I'll know where I need to go. I can kind of center it on that mark. So there, and then I'm just going to hold it for just a little bit, like I said, to let that glue connect. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the other end. Don't let it come back and smack you, get glue all over you. And then you're just going to kind of twist it a little bit. And you're going to look at where that mark is. And there you go. So then you're just going to hold that there. And I'm just, like I said, I like to hold it just a little bit to let that glue take hold. And then what you can do, if you've got a big block or something, you can just let that big block set on there and kind of hold that a little bit. And while I'm letting that hold, I was going to show you how I did the envelopes. Remember how I said I would, and then I had another card that I was going to show you. So I made a happy birthday card. But I did the envelope. So to make the envelope, you kind of want to measure your envelope flap. So this envelope measures 5 3/4 across, and then that flap measures about 2 1/4 high. So I just want to take a piece of paper, and this piece of paper is 6 inches across, so I'll go ahead and do that, but I'm going to cut it just a little bit larger than 2 1/4 high. So we'll go ahead and do that really quick. And then you also want to be sure, like I want the pattern to be going this way, so this is the side that I want to cut. So we'll go just a little bit larger than 2 1/4. We'll cut that down. And then you can use glue for this, or you can use your adhesive, whichever you like to work with better. I do kind of like glue, but adhesive is just as fast. So then just go around all the edges with your adhesive. So down, and then I do one in the middle. So there we have that. And then you're going to take your piece and you're just going to line it up about there. Get it pushed down all the way around, and then you'll take your scissors and you will cut off the edge. So you just follow along the edge of your envelope all the way around. It's nice that if you have a dark color pattern paper, it's easy to follow along the edge of that envelope. And there you go, all the way around, over to the edge and down. And there you have a nice little envelope to match your card. So that's one way to keep your cards nice and put together. Okay, so now I will go ahead and put the strip on the other side. And again, I've got that little mark that I put down, so I'll just put a little bit of glue on there. And then I have that little mark that I put on my piece of paper, or on my purse inside. So we'll just hold that down for a second. Okay. And now we will put some glue on this end. And then we'll get that cap back on there. And you just kind of twist it around. And you put it on the inside there. And again, just hold it down a little bit, kind of give it some time to adhere to the paper. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead again with my block, put it on the inside of the bag, and just hold that strap down there. Now to decorate the outside of the bag, for this one I put a cute little chevron. I think that's the name of that die, of that shape, because I'm using the Nested Essentials, and I'm using the second largest and then the middle size chevrons for the front. And I've already done that. So I took the Night of Navy and I cut that in the larger size, and then I took the white and cut it in the smaller one, and I stamped on it, "This is only the beginning of a life filled with love." So then I took that, and then we're going to put that on the front of our little purse. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and use the dimensionals. So let's just put dimensionals all over this little chevron, or this shape. I'm pretty sure it's a chevron, but not 100%. So we'll just put them all around here. Make sure that they stay really well. And then I also use some gems on the front of that as well. Okay, we'll get the backings off of our dimensionals. Okay. And then you're just gonna kind of center it on your bag and just press it down on there. Okay, and then also for my bag, I did a little bit of a bow for the front. And it's what I did is I took a couple of different ribbons, and I've got just the white frayed ribbon. I've got the iridescent striped trim ribbon. This one is just a white patterned ribbon. And then this one is glittered ribbon, and it's got the Night of Navy and gold in there. And so I just cut a bunch of different strips down. I cut them about 4 inches in size. And then I took some of my white twine and I just wrapped it together and just tied it in a knot on there. So that's what I'm going to use for the little bow on the bag. And to adhere it, I'm going to use one of my mini dots, maybe 2 of my mini dots, just to be sure that it stays on there. So we'll get that. Okay, there we go. And then just put that there on the handle. And I think actually on the pink bag, I might have actually used a little bit of glue too, just to make sure that it would stay on there. So there we go. There you have your little purse. And then you have the cards to go in them. So you have a nice little matching gift. Isn't that just so cute? So I hope that you had fun, and I hope that you will make this with me, have some fun making it, and designing all sorts of different cards. These cards, there's really no limit to how you can make them, because you can just use all sorts of different patterns. You can use all different dyes and sentiments. It's just kind of whatever you want to try to make. They're super simple. They'll work with any of the DSP, and I really do hope you'll give this a try. Thank you for staying with me tonight, and I appreciate you guys being here. Bye-bye.